to give the people what they want. It's Jalen and Jacoby.
He is Jalen Rose.
What up, dog?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
And we are Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. What do?
We get the people what they want.
And his cancer was on Taylor Rooks' Timeout podcast by SNY. And he said this about a threat from one of his teammates.
I'm not going to tell who. One of my teammates, like a couple of weeks before that scrimmage game, said, if I see one picture of you and KD, because he knows that KD live in the same apartment with me, don't come back to OKC.
Really?
I'm not going to tell who. He said that.
Do you think that teammate had a name that rhymes with Hustle Nestbrook?
It should, and rightfully so. While KD and Russell squashed their personal beef from the fact that KD did leave unceremoniously, Russell and his teammates should continue to understand that he, A, plays for the rival, and B, is personal on the floor. Because when your best player that has won an MVP leaves the squad and joins another squad that already won 73 games, plus they win the championship in his first year, if that don't create a rivalry, I don't know what does.
You know he's salty. You know he is salty. You know it. So this is interesting. In a week that involved Michael Bennett had an incident with the Las Vegas Police Department, and everything that's going on around the opening weekend in the NFL and the anthem protests and all of this, the Browns and the police officers, the local Cleveland police officers and other safety officials will be uniting together in a sort of show of unity before the national anthem. Is this progress in your mind?
Progress is every time we have this conversation. And a lot of people think doing a protest may or may not move the needle. As long as we're discussing it, that's what we hope to get accomplished, to create a level of awareness that we can respect every side and how they feel about certain situations that are taking place in our country.
I like this because there was a news story a while ago where the police said that they didn't want to go out and hold the flag. They were kind of like in their own protest against the protest. And then what they did is some of the leadership of the team in the front office got together with the police, and they're also scheduling to go out into the community and have sort of town hall kind of conversations to sort of, you know, unite everyone. And I think this is a really good sign, and I love what this team and these people are doing.
I do. Awareness creates conversation. Hopefully conversation becomes action.
Exactly.
As you just described. And I appreciate what the flag has now become because of Colin Kaepernick. We look at it a lot different. Look at the major logos of the NBA, Major League Baseball, and of the NFL. They're all red, white, and blue, our great colors. But the flag is resembled strongly in the NFL shield.
Yes.
And so with that, a lot of people took it extremely personal when people decided that they were going to use the anthem as their form of producing a passive protest, which for me is obviously their right, and what the military and the land of the free have put themselves on the front lines constantly fighting for us to have that civil liberty. And this now has spilled over and become just as important as what we're seeing on the field. And that's refreshing coming from sports, because a lot of times as an athlete, just shut up, do your job, play your sport. We don't care what you have to say. But I'm a taxpaying citizen, and it works both ways. You see the humanitarian efforts that are taking place amongst the natural disasters.
Of course.
That athletes are contributing, and not just them, everybody that's been affected. I'm pretty sure appreciate that helping hand, lending a voice, raising funds. And so this is the exact same thing, but it's a political and a socially conscious topic.
I'll be tuning into the Browns game just to see this, because I think this is a step in the right direction. I'm excited about it.
Then after that, we're going to stop watching the Browns.
Exactly. That's going to be the most exciting thing that happens in the Browns season this year. Adam Silver is trying to make some change of himself. He's trying to come out with draft reform to de-incentivize tanking. He's trying to eliminate tanking from the game. How do you think he can do this? Do you think this is a good idea?
I think it's a really good idea, but it's going to be almost impossible to legislate.
It's also difficult because what if you are just a bad team? You know what I mean? Like, you are trying your hardest and you just don't have the players, or you had some injuries or whatever. So it's almost unfair to the teams that are legitimately bad that aren't trying to lose.
What has happened in today's game that is unique is that while there were dominant franchises like the Lakers and the Celtics and the Bulls getting championships, there was still all-stars sprinkled around the league.
Yes.
And so your favorite team in a lot of cities had one, or somebody playing at an all-star level. Now when you have 4 in Golden State, 3 in Cleveland, now that Kyrie's obviously gone, what ends up happening is you shrink the talent pool.
The NBA has turned into a have and a have-not league. It's like you are either trying to lose to get a draft pick to rebuild, or you are trying to win a championship, and there's not too many middling teams in between.
Because of the dynamic I just described. You're not making the playoffs if you don't have an all-star. You're not advancing if you don't have 2. And in today's game, it doesn't seem like you're not making to the finals if you don't have 3, and you're not winning the championship if you don't have 4.
It's going to be hard for him to do this. I mean, there's been all sorts of lottery reforms that have been proposed, but I do think it does need to happen because I do want to see competitive basketball.
You want to see competitive basketball? Here's what you do. Nobody cares who wins the division except the teams and the local fans. Put up a banner. Some teams don't. Have a 1 through 16 playoff season.
When is this going to happen? Like, it's going to happen. It's just like the changing of the Redskins name in Washington. Like, this is going to happen. They're going to eliminate conferences eventually, right?
You have to have the best 16 teams seeded accordingly. So we're not having this conversation. I'm getting you ready right now. Come April, it's going to be 2 or 3 teams in the Eastern Conference under 500 making the playoffs.
It's good. You know, you're going to see the Hornets there or whatever. You're just going to be like, wait a second. They just went 40 and 42, and now they're in the playoffs, and they're just going to get completely steamrolled by the Celtics or the Cavaliers. 1 through 16 is going to happen. The conferences will be eliminated, or, you know, it's not a travel problem anymore. You know, like, the whole thing is just antiquated, and it needs to change. And when it does change, just remember where you heard it first. Right here on Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. When we come back, we have some very interesting information about something that's hanging on the wall in Drake's studio. A little bit of a violation. We'll explain after this.
Mr. Met was walking off through a tunnel. He felt like he was off wax, and a fan gave him a little bit of lip, and he turned around, held down 3 of his 4 fingers. In Mr. Met's defense, I ask you a simple question. If you have 4 fingers, can you give a fan the middle finger?
I don't think so.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Mr. Met, get at us. We are the law firm of Rose and Jacoby. We'll represent you for free in whatever proceedings needed. And also, it just goes to show, Mr. Met, you are never off wax.
Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Jalen Rose, Dwayne Wade said, quote, "The only thing I'll say right now is my plan is to be in training camp."
And my main man, D. Wade, still gets paid. On the all season, we vacay in the shade. That's just publicly negotiating with the Bulls. Because in order for him to end up on the Cavs, which we're predicting is going to happen, he has to get bought out by the Bulls.
He didn't say training camp with the Bulls. He just said, I'll be in training camp.
And since they owe him over $20 million, they're like, you could have opted out.
Yeah.
So you
You're
chose
the
to
one that
come
opted
back.
in.
So since he did opt in, they understand that they have the leverage. And so usually a buyout probably happens 85 to 90% of the salary.
Okay.
I don't see the Bulls writing a $17 million check.
Just for him to go away, to do him a favor, a $17 million favor for Dwayne Wade. There was also reports that he hasn't spoken to anyone in the front office for a couple months.
Nothing to talk about.
Yeah, send me a
There's
check.
nothing to talk
Unless you're
about.
asking me for my address.
There's nothing to talk about. The Chicago thing was a business transaction from the beginning, and I was standing on the table saying what when he left Miami to go to Chicago?
That he's going to end up on the Cavs.
That he should have stayed in Miami.
Yeah. He was sensitive. Him and Pat weren't getting along. He was sensitive about that. I'm sensitive about this next story. Free agent Antonio Cromartie just had his 14th child. Congratulations to the Cromartie family. This is his 3rd child since having a vasectomy. Jalen Rose, you know a vasectomy is in my future. Should I have a vasectomy, even if you can have children afterwards?
I've heard you talk publicly about this.
It's going to happen.
I've heard Mike Golick talk about this very same topic.
I'm going to do the show from the operating room. I'm going to do it live on TV.
Don't do it. Please don't do it.
I didn't know you could still have kids. He had twins after a vasectomy.
My point exactly.
I don't need any more twins.
You don't need any more surgeries that guarantee that you don't need any more surgeries that don't fully guarantee that you can't have more kids. How about that?
That's a problem. You remember that picture of Aaron Rodgers fixing Sam Decker's garbage disposal? And we were all talking about how we're not really handyman and Aaron Rodgers is this and that.
He wasn't fixing it.
Do you know what he did? It was unplugged. He just plugged it in. Which got me thinking, did you know that garbage disposals need to be plugged in?
I do.
I didn't. How do you know that? I don't believe you. I think you're lying. I think you're lying. I think you're trying to sound cool on wax.
No.
I didn't know you had to plug in a garbage disposal.
Well, back in the day, think about it. We had the type of kitchen appliances where you hit the switch for the garbage disposal and it didn't need to be plugged in because it was all one piece.
Yeah.
When you start to have fancier kitchens, you understand the difference.
I still have the switch.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My kids are scared of it. Garbage disposals are kind of
They're
scary.
loud.
They're kind of scary.
Come
This
on,
is the
but by
topic.
the way, come on, Sam Decker.
Come on, Sam Decker. He's young. Drake is recording a new album, and there's a picture.
Drizzy!
There's a picture that he posted of him recording the album, and there was something very interesting on the wall. He had a gigantic. It was called a 6-foot picture of Beyonce in his house.
In his house?
Or his house, his recording studio, wherever it is. Question: should Jay-Z feel a certain way about
Yes.
this? I don't think that's cool. I don't think that's cool at all. You cannot have a gigantic picture of my wife as inspiration around your house.
We were at the Super Bowl together.
Me and you?
And I recall she was about to perform at halftime, and everybody was rushing to go watch Beyonce. I'm like, I'm not tripping to watch Jay-Z's wife perform.
But he has to write an email to one of his assistants and say, you know what I want? You see this picture of Beyonce? Add an attachment. He's like, I want this, but huge. And I'm going to put it up on the wall.
Imagine if he and Jay were to collab on a record. Can't do it in that spot.
I mean, what if you came over to my house and had a giant picture of your girl on the wall?
That's
just
awkward.
weird.
That's weird.
That is weird. Come on, Drake.
And some people be like, oh, he being savage. No, that's being weird.
No, that's weird. I don't like it. Come on, Drake. Uh-oh. It's time for the Don't Get Fired topic of the day.
And now, the Don't Get Fired topic of the day.
This one's going to get us fired. A plastic surgery addict claims that a botched nose job
Lil' Kim?
has left him with a painful and permanent erection. Jalen. There's so many questions I want to ask, but I don't want to get fired. Jalen Rose, have you ever thought about getting plastic surgery?
I haven't thought about getting plastic surgery, but if I had to walk around with an erection all day, nobody would be able to come within 6 feet of me.
A painful and permanent erection. This guy, painful and permanent.
Wouldn't want it permanent.
From one Don't Get Fired topic to another Don't Get Fired topic, Jalen Rose. One thing, we learned a lot about each other doing this show, and there was a topic that came up, and one thing I learned about you is, I don't know why or how this happened, but you have an affinity for breast milk.
I do.
I don't know how this happened.
It starts young.
It starts young. I've tried it. I think anybody who's had a child has sampled, just to see what's going on.
One of my first times as a teenager, again, not proud of this story, just spitting facts, not glorifying anything in any way, shape, or form.
We're gonna get fired today, I can tell.
At an adult entertainment establishment.
Oh no, Jalen. Oh,
there
no.
was a woman on stage.
Oh no, Jalen.
Squirting
oh no, Jalen.
customers with breast milk.
We're going to get fired. We're lucky our show is on at 2 in the morning.
And most
Because
guys,
if executives see this,
most
they're like,
guys
what are
are
they talking
doing,
about?
most guys are like this. I was like this. Like a water fountain. I put a little arc on it.
End the segment. We got to go. We might be back after this, or they might pull the plug in the studio. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby, Jalen Rose. It is my favorite segment of the week. The final segment of the week. It's called What We Learned. It's when we look back at all the things that happened over the course of the week and we distill it all down into the lessons that we have learned. First thing we learned. Wearing skinny jeans on the beach is a soft move.
It is.
Like, we have decided that we're embracing this power couple that is Blake Griffin and Kendall Jenner. Even though it's one of the Jenner-Kardashian clan, we've embraced this power couple.
We've gotten softer at our older age.
We have.
We sold out.
We sold out fully, and I like this couple, but I do not like jeans at the beach. Come on, Blake. Come on, Blake.
And here's the other thing.
Tight jeans at the beach?
Not only is he wearing jeans, he got the nerve to not have on shoes and socks.
It's just like, you get the waves are going to wash up on your jeans. You got wet denim clinging against your skin. They're all sandy.
Better off wearing your underwear.
Holes in your jeans. The sand's getting in there. No, Blake, no.
And he just got a fat new deal.
Another thing we learned, University of Miami is finally recognizable again.
Yes, indeed. I recognize to you. Warren Sapp, Benny Blades, Michael Irvin, Bernie Kosar were happy, Edgerrin James, to see the turnover Dookie rope chain
The
on
turnover
the
chain.
sideline.
When I saw the turnover chain, I was like, that is brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. I tried to pitch some ideas of how this could work in other sports. You didn't really like any of them.
I did.
You don't think if you hit a home run, you should have a private cabana that you sit in?
No.
No?
They're already sitting in the dugout.
Okay. Another thing we learned, the NCAA can't tell LeVar bleep, according to LeVar.
Did you know that the NCAA is a 501c3?
No, I don't even know what that means.
They're a nonprofit.
Really? Seems like they're profiting. Seems like they're profiting.
And
Sure
for
does.
LeVar Ball, this is a simple solution. He's making money. He's the owner of the Big Baller brand, along with his sons and his wife, clearly. He's doing public appearances on wrestling and multiple interviews. He's become a star in his own right. Lonzo Ball just got picked in the lottery to play basketball with the Lakers.
Yep. LiAngelo Ball's playing UCLA.
LiAngelo Ball is a shareholder that wink ain't supposed to be getting any money, though he has his own shoe and he's driving a Lambo.
That's LaMelo, the younger one in high school.
Yeah. But what about the guy that we never talk about, the middle son?
LiAngelo.
Like, he's literally getting treated like the middle kid.
He is.
He gets no love.
We'll see what happens. We'll see how he does UCLA.
All they have to do is just pay for him to go to school.
Another thing we learned.
Don't accept the scholarship.
Phillip Rivers has the cure for LA traffic. So Phillip Rivers didn't move from San Diego to Los Angeles with the Rams. He kept his family in San Diego. I think they're outside San Diego. So he now commutes for about 90 minutes to 2 hours every day. He had an SUV completely redone. So it's got first-class seating like an airplane, a 40-inch monitor where he can watch film. But here's the thing. He's just watching movies. He's watching The Godfather.
And
he's watching TV. He's binge-watching The Wire.
And as you taught me, how many kids do you have at home?
I have 3.
How many does he have at home?
8.
Okay. So he's probably using that time to just not be at the house.
To just not be at the house. And he's going to come home every night at like 9 after all the kids go to sleep. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't get to see the kids. No, you're not. No, you're not. My wife knows about that trick. Another thing we learned. Seahawks need shoulders. The Seahawks unveiled a new logo. You can see a lot of different things in it.
Yeah, you have a couple of beverages that could look like something.
Look, a lot of different things, yeah. But here's the thing about this logo is I was looking at it and something was broken with it. It's just a floating Seahawk head.
Yeah, that doesn't have a body.
It needs a body. Put that head on a body. It's just a floating head. Come on, Seahawks logo. That's not intimidating. Decapitated Seahawk. Another thing we learned. 50 Cent and Star, very complicated relationship.
They do, but they continue to stay together and make it work.
Very complicated relationship. He leaked episodes of his own show, undermining the business of stars.
Here's what we learned this week. Ghost, Tommy,
Don't spoil
and Kanan
the show for people
have
that
linked
haven't seen
up.
it. You do
The
not understand
Avengers.
spoilers. You do not understand
Or
spoilers.
care.
You don't understand spoilers or how they work and how people get angry and they tweet at me about it.
I'm just disappointed that Tasha's sleeping with the attorney.
Which one's Lala? Which one's Lala? That's all I need to know.
That's Tasha's best friend.
Tasha's best friend?
Yes.
Okay. I'm never watching that show.
Why?
Another thing we learned, Jalen is extremely biased. Extremely biased.
In what
You went
way?
out here. You are a professional sports analyst. They pay you to do this, to speak into microphones about sports. And you said, who's going to win the division?
The Lions.
You think the Lions are going to win the division, not the Packers?
Have you seen the Packers defense?
Yes.
Okay. It's not really good.
Have you seen the Lions play football?
Yeah, we made the playoffs the last 2 years.
Win a game? Did you win a game?
That we working on that. We
Okay.
won one playoff game
Okay.
in 50 years, so
Okay.
we working on that.
Let's make a 10 push-up bet right now that the Lions will not win the division.
5,
5? You can't do 10 push-ups?
10.
Okay. 10 push-up bet right here on Wax.
Speaking of push-ups,
I knew this was coming.
told you
I knew
that
this was
KC
coming.
was going to beat the Patriots.
I knew this was coming.
You owe me
I
5.
owe you 5 push-ups.
Do them live on TV. Yes. I wanted to get you at a restaurant after a couple of beverages in front of people, but it's better to get them on TV. Make sure your chest touch the ground. Yeah, there we go. This program is over. That's what happens when you bet against Andy Reid and Alex Smith. Thank you all for watching on ESPN2, on ESPN News. Download us on the app. Check out the podcast. We'll see you next week.
We got to give the